everyone, welcome to another Elitist review. This review is on For the sake of this review, this one is on the Xbox One. So if you don't have the Xbox One version, well, it'll be pretty much the same. Let's start off by saying that Destiny is some weird, convoluted MMO, FPS, action-adventure, whatever the fuck it is, game. And it doesn't matter what it ends up being because we're just going to look at the game as a whole. We're not looking at the game as it's from Bungie, or if it's from some other big company. It is Destiny for the Xbox One and the other systems. Gameplay is Destiny's biggest, most wanted feature out of everything. It's been hailed as an MMO, like I said earlier, but the real meat of the game is that it's a first-person shooter. You run around, you pick up ammo, you shoot people, and they drop items. It could be loot, it could be items you turn in for money, it could be anything. It could be an unidentified item that you can identify. The game is all about killing people and looting people. The game's broken up into single-player missions, or missions you can do with some friends. I don't know if you got any fucking friends, man. But if you do have friends, you can recruit 3 of them to play in a match, and it's the story. You still have to be connected to the internet, sadly, but the story runs from planet to planet, Earth, Mars, Venus, Moon, and as you progress, you get a higher level, which the level cap is 20, and that's the soft cap. We'll talk about that later. But level 20 is your highest level that your character can level to. Your equipment helps determine whether or not you're strong, you're fast, your armor, your abilities cool down a little quicker. Each story mission has a goal, mostly just to get to a computer, hold off a wave, or kill a boss. It doesn't matter, because it's all going to end up the same. You do the story mission, you get done, you get some rewards. You go identify your loot, you get better loot, you go back to your missions. During the single-player missions, there's these things called strikes. And the strikes are a group of matchmaking, so it's matchmaking, so anyway, you can play with 3 people no matter what you do, even if you don't have friends. But it doesn't matter. So you get 3 friends together, or you get two people together, and you all go into the mission, and it's a little bit longer, and it always ends in a boss. Now, while you're doing your missions and your strikes, you get loot and you level up. Your loot can level up, your armor, your weapon, your character can level up, and your class can level up. I know that seems a little odd, but everything has kind of like this odd, different leveling system. So everything has its own experience gain. So you can be level 20, which is the highest level you gain experience for your character, and your class can still level up. Because that's just going to happen. You have no choice. You will hit level 20 before you finish a class. And your weapon and your weapons and shit do the same. You get new stuff, and each of them have abilities, and they level up, and you gain experience individually. The experience you get from missions and strikes and turning quests in all goes towards all of your levels. Now, while you're doing these missions, you're going to get experience, which is what I was talking about with the leveling earlier. So when you get experience, you get experience for turning in quests. There's bounties, which the bounties ask you to do specific things in missions or in strikes, and you do them and you get a lot of extra experience. It's a big deal. And then you just like I said, your regular quests. Compare the game to Halo and Call of Duty, but it's really its own thing. It's like this meshed up pile of shit. It's Call of Duty, this Halo thing, and it's floaty. The controls are just a tiny bit not loose like crap loose, but I mean like you can move around pretty quickly. You're aiming down your sights. You have your guns, and you have special abilities you can use during your missions, strikes and such. But the game is its own game. It's not Halo. It's not Call of Duty. It's got a completely different way to approach it. It's like an MMO. Regardless of what people say, it's like an MMO. There are aspects that are similar. It may not be exactly an MMO, but you've got your quests, your strikes, you can get together with people. The world is kind of... You can go into areas for the missions and the strikes, or you can go into a patrol mission. So let's say you go to patrol on Earth. You go to the patrol mission and you can visit all the areas that you would visit in each of the separate quests or strengths. But there's not really a goal. There's just missions sitting around, these little green blinking lights sitting around the level. You click on one, it opens up the thing, it tells you what to do, you go do it. It's pretty simple. There's never any boss fights. It's just kill these dudes, survey this area. That's about it. So the game isn't technically open world, but it's got strikes and solo, so it's got PvP or people argue about PvP matchmaking. It doesn't matter. It's you're fighting against other people, so it's teams of people fighting against other teams of people. So you've got that. So it's got all these like little things, and then not only that, but as you're doing these missions and quests and strikes and stuff, you can also gain reputation for people in town. And the more reputation you gain, the better items you have access to. These items are going to contain lots of abilities and lots of stuff, but you've got to grind for them. And that is where the MMO feel comes in. You are going to fucking grind. Okay? You're going to grind. And I'm sorry, but that's just the thing. If you want to get loot, you're going to have to grind because it's all random. You're just going to have to let it drop, and you have to see what it is. You're going to have to get unidentified items, which are called engrams. Just not only that, but you're also going to have to get this reputation, which will then give you access to better items, and you can get reputation for both PvP and PvE, player versus environment, which is the solo strike mission. Overall, it makes it a very interesting experience to be running around and gunning, using your couple abilities, and doing missions, doing side quests, gaining reputation. There's a decent amount to do, as long as you look for it. There are 3 separate classes: Titans, Hunters, and Warlocks. And each of these 3 classes has their own 2 subclasses. And there's supposed to, I think there's going to be a third subclass. I don't know though. I just got a slot for it, but I'm hoping. I'm hoping. So you've got each of them has 2 subclasses, and each of those subclasses has its own abilities. You have 3 abilities. You have your super ability, you have your grenade, and you have your melee attack. Your grenade, all your abilities are on a cooldown, by the way. These are all cooldown abilities. So your grenade does something special. It's the first slot in your leveling up, in your class level. Then you've got so you throw the grenade. It does. You have 3 different ways to use it. There's 3 different types of grenades, and then there's abilities that modify those grenades. Then you have your super. Your super is supposed to be this, like, kind of get you out of a bad situation, destroy a boss, like single target or craziness. Regardless, what happens is you use this special ability, and it's super, super strong. Well, it's called a super. Next, you have your melee attack. Your melee attack has, you can melee anytime you want, but if you want to have it, if you want to have an added ability to it, let's say fire, or you want it to blow someone up, or heal you, that's what your melee attack can do, and that's also on a cooldown. You can, like I said, you can melee anytime, but this cooldown, when it's up, you can use it and you get a special ability. So you have 3 special abilities in total. That makes your class slightly unique. To be honest, for me, a lot of your leveling up deals with choosing different effects for your 3 abilities, and then choosing whether or not you want your character to be have better armor, be quicker, or recover, as in health regeneration. Your recovery will be higher. When you level up your class, you have like this choice of different things you can set. So your guy you can have him have more armor. You can kind of specialize each of the characters into any category you want. You want them to be tanky. You want them to be really fast. Do you want them to heal themselves really quickly? So you have a small amount of special abilities rather than just having this huge amount of stuff to do. Otherwise, I mean, it would be like an MMO. It would be like World of Warcraft having the 80 buttons. So it's like I said, it's a more fast-paced first-person shooter with MMO. Overall, I'd have to say I really, really enjoy the gameplay. It's a great fucking time. Okay, you run around, you're killing bosses, you're with your friends. I know, it seems a little short. The game does seem a little short. I completed the main missions, all the main missions, and all the strikes in 2 days. The first 2 days it came out. Some people are a little upset about that. A lot of it, like I said, is grinding. So if you're not into grinding, and if you're not into small amounts of main story content, this might not be the game for you. Destiny has an interesting story. I don't want to ruin it here, and I'm not going to. The most I'll say about the story is my feelings on it. I'll skip that part at the end. But my feelings on Destiny's story, it's shallow, it's short, it's weird, it doesn't end up finishing, because I imagine they're going to finish it in future content. So, I don't know, it's kind of odd. Like, I just could not pay attention to it enough. I mean, other than the fact that you're fighting all these alien races, I mean, there's the story behind it's just kind of background. It's just not done very well. I don't know. To me, the dialogue and the way it's presented and how often you get to see it, it just doesn't feel like it's as epic as I once understood it might be. I guess I don't know. It's just kind of odd. It's just not. I mean, it's okay. It's whatever. It provides the background. There's a lot of lore looking at the like looking at the background and listening to some of the story, and then looking at your achievements and looking at your primary cards. You get a lot of the story, but there just isn't. To me, it's just not enough for me to want to play it for the story. So without ruining it, I did not enjoy the story very much. Destiny has some pretty nice graphics. They do look pretty nice. It still doesn't look like this game was built for this console yet. But that's gonna happen. The Xbox One and the PS4 just came out. Less than a year ago, I guess. Well, they haven't figured everything out yet. Whatever. It's still a console, though. So don't expect anything PC, related. It's just not going to be as nice as if you owned a really nice computer. There's lots of sun shafts. There's lots of motion blur and all your big you look at your graphic settings, your SSAO and all that stuff. The reflections are nice. They're nice. It runs at a high resolution and the frame rate's pretty nice. It never bothered me. I'm not the biggest on graphics, but to be honest, it could look better. It looks nice, it really does, but it could look better. Now I want to talk about a few things that really bothered me about Destiny, because this is not a perfect game. The first thing I want to talk about is the load times. They are a little atrocious to me. I feel like nowadays loading should not be this ridiculous. And I've played games that have loading that aren't this ridiculous. Especially since the new console has such a big hard drive that it comes pre-installed. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but when I'm leaving Earth to go to do another mission, and I go to the other planet and I click on the mission, it says go. It has a 3-second countdown, which can be stopped, Halo style. Lovely. It's a 3-second, 5-second time. Sometimes it's 5. I don't know why, but sometimes it's a 5-second timer, and so you can stop it. I don't know why. I mean, I picked launch. I don't want to wait 3 seconds. I mean, if everyone in the party, the only time it ever does is if you're with your friends and you're selecting the mission. It doesn't ever do it in matchmaking, so there's really no point to have it. Well, because you're on the mic. Well, then it takes the 3 seconds. Then it takes about 10 to 15 seconds to load your ship, which is flying over the planet. Load to go down to the planet. Then it flies above the clouds of the planet for another 20 seconds. It's just flying. It's flying. It's like your dude's in a spaceship. It's like, all right, well, let's go down there. Ready? Just checking a couple things. Beep boop, boop boop beep boop, beep boop boop beep. Okay. Oh, okay. All right, let's go. Yeah, what? Why does it take so long? Especially when you're doing short missions or when you're doing short things and you go from Earth to the mission and then the mission to Earth. I mean, after counting, it's up 30 seconds to a minute that it takes to load into the next area. Now, granted, when you're doing strikes or when you're doing the regular long missions, it doesn't feel like that long. But it is an odd thing to have such long loading times. And even sometimes when you're loading into stuff, or when you're going into stuff, it just takes forever to get into the action. And I feel like that's just a big deterrent to me. One of the other things that really bothers me, the way that you fight bosses and enemies. It's I don't want them to be so hard you can't fight them, where it's just super annoying. I want it to be strategic. I don't want the most strategic thing for you to do in a battle to be get the boss's attention so that you guys can heal, which is what it is right now. You get the boss's attention while one of the other dudes revives or heals or whatever, and then that's it. You just take an onslaught of oncoming attacks from the boss, and you take every, I don't know, like a health percentage, like 75%, 50%, 25% health. He calls in a bunch of minions, and they just overwhelm you. Now, this wouldn't be a problem if there were other things, but that's it. The boss will do an annoying attack, you try and dodge it while you're fighting him, and every so often he calls in a horde of minions. So they're just trying to overwhelm you. And sometimes it is overwhelming. You just can't help it. When you're in the middle of the boss battle, the boss is one of those bosses that like teleports on top of you. He teleports on top of you, and then 3 wizards and some other dudes come flying at you and all shooting. It's almost impossible to dodge, no matter how good you are or how much armor you have. It just happens. There's so many dudes. So I feel like they could have spent a little bit more time making enemies do something other than attack you with a crazy amount of attacks and then stop for a second and then attack you with a crazy amount and then just call another dude. Like, some more mechanics. I feel like they could have done something that actually used the point of having a fire team, which you can have your friends be on your fire team. I know matchmaking is a little difficult, but if the game was difficult, you'd have to use, your team to do stuff. So if they did things like what if all your team members have to press something or do something during a certain point in the boss battle? Or what if someone has to have their attention, has to keep the boss's attention and keep dodging, while the other 2 dudes or the other 1 dude goes and does something, like goes through a couple hallways, tries to find something. Maybe you're all running from the boss. Maybe the boss is slowly chasing you, and to deter him, you have to keep knocking over pieces of the environment, and then that slows him down long enough for you to fire and get some shots off while he's like smashing after you. And sometimes a few enemies come out and you kill them, you get your ammo and all that stuff. But right now, it's a little shallow. It's fun. It's just that the bosses have so much health as opposed to having team mechanics. Now, I know a lot of people are interested to see what's going to happen in the future of Destiny. What new strikes? What new raids? What new content will be available to us? Well, I think I know how to help us out here. Everyone, welcome Future Me. Future Me, what future content will Bungie bring us? Will we get new planets? Will we get new items? Do I get uglier as I get older? You only went like 5 minutes into the future to get me. Oh. So you're saying you don't know if I get uglier if I get older? I hope not. Well, thanks a lot, Future Me. Okay, back to the review. And everyone, this is the end of the review. I'd like to say, as a closing statement, I really do like this game. I'm the grinding person. I'm the person who I played Diablo, I played WoW, I played, what's another game you can grind? Borderlands even a little bit. Not that much. Borderlands had small grinds. Small, like, go back through an area. But I really like this game. The future of this game is looking bright. They're adding items, they're adding planets, they're adding stuff, they're just adding more things to do. Hopefully, with the added stuff, the game will continue to get better. I'm going to be covering PvP and all the new stuff as it comes out. I really do enjoy this game that much. So, my score, I guess, is that I would recommend this to everyone. You don't have to buy it. Maybe rent it and see how far you can get. I don't know if you can rent it and play like Redbox or GameFly, the Netflix GameFly thing. But try the game out. See how you like it. Do the main story. Do some strikes. You know, if it's just not your cup of tea, you know, play to level 20. It doesn't really take that long. It takes like a day. If you played it for 12 hours straight, you get done with the main story. Then you can be like, oh, I beat the game. But give it a try. It is a good game. So, thank you everyone for stopping by. This is The Elitist. Bye everyone.